You're listening to Thoughtful Wellness Revolution with Zara and Hien, where we believe wellness isn't wellness if it's just for you. Today, you're listening to a preview of a bonus episode. Before we get started, remember to give us a 5-star rating and review. Let's get into it.
Meesha, thank you so much for letting us interview you. And you are our first person that we got on the schedule, by the way. And I'm just so excited to share about your work. Like, ever since I found out about you, I was like, yes, like another person who I feel like there's so few, there's growing amount of people who gets it, about just like, oh my gosh, another person who gets it, like a South Asian woman who's like really like doing the work and presenting yoga in a way that I'm like, I've been trying to, do myself with all the decolonization work and the reclaiming work and trying to heal from all those white yoga teachers using Thich Nhat Hanh quotes on me without real acknowledgement about what he was about. It's all about, using mindfulness and meditation for stress relief. And I'm just like, oh.
Your ancestors are like, no, run.
And I'm running. In a couple weeks, I'm going to teach a decolonizing meditation and mindfulness workshop. And so I'm very excited for that. So
cool. I'll keep my eyes peeled for that. I would love to attend that.
Yeah. I'll probably post about it sometime, but it is through another studio's like 300 hour. So it's like they have the workshop open to the public, but it's like their main trainees are doing it, and it's a studio ran by women of color that's also doing cool shit. That's why I said yes to it.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that. Well, I'm so glad to know you and connect with you, and yeah, now I see the face behind the meditator.
Yeah. I've just been I don't know. So when I attend your classes, because no one else except you has their camera on, I don't turn mine on. Like, am I allowed to turn my camera on?
Yeah, it's personal choice.
Oh, okay. I kind of assumed that, but just because none of the other participants did, I was like, oh, I guess I'll just keep my camera on.
You're like, I don't want to be that guy right now.
It's like a Zoom etiquette thing, right? Where you're like, oh, well, nobody else is on. I don't want to just like scoot in there.
Right.
Yeah.
What a world we're in.
What a world. So when the world opens up again, do you hope to do like a in-person studio?
That's a dream. Like, my partner and I often talk about opening a whole wellness center. And so like they're even way more hardcore into activism. And so I could see them providing like mutual aid out of there and like community nights and things like that, maybe like art workshops. And then I have my yoga studio and like decolonization center in there. And that would be like so cool. Yeah.
I want that so much for you, because I think there needs to be more of that. I don't even know a person of color who runs a wellness center right now, or a yoga, like, and I should say not any, but maybe like one or two. But that is not something that I could name the top of my mind of like, oh, so-and-so's doing something like that, because there isn't anyone.
And I think
it's true.
The ability to like have a space to provide mutual aid and like do community nights too is, I think, so integral to decolonization and the whole process. And I love that. I'm a big advocate of Paulo Freire's work. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yes. My partner definitely knows more about that. And so it'd be cool to give them the space to just like like you said, create the world we hope to see. One wellness center at a time.
Yep. And we are just trying to amplify the voices of folks of color and wellness, trying to create the world they want to see with this little podcast project we started.
Yeah, I like it. You guys have a great vibe. I felt super comfortable.
Thank you.
I'm glad you say that, because I'm so awkward. Yeah. I'm like, Meesha, you're like so cool. I'm like, I'm so awkward. Zara, you're amazing. Zara is so blessed. Zara is a Sagittarius woman. Like,
oh, I'm feeling super awkward today though. I was like, you just have to get through the first one. It's just gonna be weird today. Just keep going. I was like, oh.
It's gonna be weird because it's Mercury retrograde, and that's the funny thing is, we scheduled most of our interviews during Mercury retrograde, right? Like, and I realized that, and I was like, you know what? We're just gonna keep going. because this is something that I've been wanting for a while. And Zara and I, we met at Susanna Barkataki's training in 2019. And in 2020, we wanted to do retreats. Like we wanted to do, I don't know, just Florida or where I'm at in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest. Like that's what we wanted to do. And then 2020 said, nah, like, and so, you know, like you, I have, I guess, a virtual studio and membership and do things online. And then I had this idea of like, yeah, you know, I really want more BIPOC run and centered podcasts in wellness. How many do you know? I don't know that many, many. And so I was like, okay, it's something I've been wanting to do and it's scary and uncomfortable, but I have to do it because it's the right thing, which is actually a lot of my own journey in decolonization and wellness has been like that. And for me, it started with starting a woman of color yoga classes, like yoga for women of color in Tacoma, Washington. And it went really well. But, you know, being online, I put it into, you know, virtual classes. And a few months ago, you know, was posting about it. And that's where I had a comment from someone who was like, oh, you're trying to do segregation. And I'm like, okay, block. Like, I'm not.
Yeah. It's crazy. You just do what they do and they're like, that's wrong. It's like,
yeah.
What?
But besides that, you know, I think overall being online has allowed me to find more cool people like you. So I'm really grateful for that. Cause I know I met you at like a care circle through the Cosmos like a while ago. Yeah. So.
And Sunaina says you're one of their mentors.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sunaina did Susanna's training last year. I don't even know my years anymore. 2020. And so I'm a mentor in Susanna's online 300-hour training.
Oh, cool.
It is really cool. And it is something I'm very grateful for because that is one of the places that grounds me with like-minded folks and peers. Yeah. And even the white folks who are there, I mean, they're not perfect. You know, there are definitely some white folks who are further along than others, but at least they are trying. Like they are trying to listen to South Asian and BIPOC voices in yoga, and they're trying to like examine their own, you know, the way they teach and the way they consume yoga, I guess. That sounds weird to say, but that's basically what it is, right? So it is really cool. And I'm really grateful for Susanna's work and the opportunity to work with other yoga teachers of color. That's actually something I've been so slow to get it. I need to like get my shit together all in time because I know it's Mercury retrograde, so I'm not going to push too hard. But I do want to begin offering like mentoring for yoga teachers of color in particular, because I do feel the same way as you, Meesha. Like I'm not super into white teachers, you know, making money off of stuff. I understand though, like I understand like labor is labor and teaching is labor and all that, but like it, and that's where I get kind of weird about it. But I'm also kind of like, you know, wanting to roll my eyes when I see like there's a yoga studio in my local area, and I just realized it like yesterday, but apparently they opened like 2 other places. And I think one of the places that they own now was like another studio that I think probably wasn't doing well during the pandemic. And so I think they bought it. And it makes me feel so icky. Like, even though it's a local chain, it's like a white woman. And I'm just like, yikes. Yeah, I'll just say I'm not super popular in the local yoga scene. Like they don't ask for me to be there, even though they probably should. Like they don't want me. And I'm sure you understand that. Like I'm sure you get that.
My partner always says, like, look at who you're pissing off, and then you're probably doing a good job then if it's like just a bunch of stuck up white people.
That's a good way of seeing it.
Yeah. I also think like I'm gonna do a reel on this. When people make their whole persona in life about yoga and they're white, then it feels like adults playing dress up. And humans are so dynamic and multifaceted. And I know this one, when my one friend Kismet was a yoga teacher, so big in San Diego, right? Like white, made a name for themselves or whatever. And they're also such a talented artist and like have all these other amazing aspects to who they are, that giving up teaching yoga, which they did, they shipped me all their books and just like stopped teaching, their whole life didn't fall apart. Like they are a whole and complete person outside of that. And so sometimes I feel bad telling people like, oh, you shouldn't make money or even be a yoga teacher. And it's like, at first it stings because they've created a persona out of it, but that's not who you are. Like, come on, like, how could you have that deep of a connection to something that's not like at all? And you're like, when did you decide that you liked yoga? When you were 22? Like, come on.
Thank you for listening to the Thoughtful Wellness Revolution podcast. For the full episode and more bonus content, you can go to thoughtfulwellnessrevolution.substack.com and subscribe for only $5 a month.